So in today's video, we are going to be discussing which second-year quarterback is going to have the best season. Now, before we get into the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and let's jump right into the video. So when it comes to the quarterback that's going to have the best second year, it's not necessarily the quarterback that's going to be on the best team. It's going to be based off of the quarterback that I think will make the bigger leap. And yeah, the situation does matter because some of these quarterbacks were in terrible situations last year, and a lot of them are in much better situations. And you have some guys like Mac Jones who are already in great situations in New England, having Bill Belichick as their head coach. But some of these guys, they're in different situations, so you kind of have to judge each situation that they're in differently. And it also just determines what kind of talent does each of these quarterbacks have and what improvements do I think they can make going into their second year and which one's going to have the best second year in the NFL. So if we're looking at Mac Jones, I don't think he's going to be the best second year quarterback, and that's nothing against Mac Jones, but I think it's for the simple fact that Mac Jones is in New England, and I think that's a huge factor in why I don't think he's going to be the best second year quarterback, because you look at the system that New England runs, they don't really have to ask Mac Jones to do much. I mean, Mac Jones, he's going to have to get just a little bit better, just a tad bit better. But if Mac Jones plays just a little bit better than what he did last year, this Patriots team is going to be just fine. Because again, they don't have to ask him to do much. He really just has to be a game manager. Now, I know that's the job of the quarterback, but a literal game manager. He does not have to do much. He just has to get it to some of their receivers that they just added, and Devontae Parker, and they drafted Tyquan Thornton. So just get them the ball and let the playmakers make plays. You know, they're going to run the football a lot. So Mac Jones, I don't think he's going to be the best second-year quarterback, but that's nothing against Mac Jones. It all has to do with the system that he plays in and the head coach that he has. But then we also have Davis Mills. I don't think he's going to be the best second-year quarterback either, but Davis Mills does not get talked about that much at all. I think Davis Mills was actually a pretty good quarterback last year for the Texans, and the Texans are a really bad football team. Like, I have zero expectations for the Texans this year. They're probably even 2 years away from even being considered a team that can win 5, 6, 7 games. Like, the expectations are so low for the Texans right now. But if we're looking at Davis Mills, he was pretty solid for the Texans last year. I thought he played really well. I don't know why people were insisting the Texans draft a quarterback, because I don't think that's even close to their biggest issue. Davis Mills was pretty competent last year. He played some great football last year in that disaster that was the Texans. And then you bring in Lovie Smith, who I really like, who I think is going to entrust Davis Mills to have a solid season for the Texans. I think Davis Mills is a solid quarterback for the Texans. I think he could be the guy for the future. I said that last year when he was playing well, and I don't understand why this guy doesn't get talked about very much. But with the Texans as a whole, as much as I like Davis Mills, as much as I think he can make a jump next year and become, better than he was last year, the Texans are just so far off from being a team that's even considered average. And I know I'm not necessarily discussing the team. I just think that if the Texans want to be even a competent team, Davis Mills is going to have to take a leap so dramatic that we've probably never seen before. So, I like Davis Mills, but the jump that he's going to have to take to make the Texans even an average football team is too dramatic, and I just don't think that he can be the best second-year quarterback this year. And then we have a couple quarterbacks with question marks. The first one is Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields, he was not in a good situation with the Bears last year whatsoever. Matt Nagy did not handle him, I didn't think, particularly well, if you ask me. The whole Andy Dalton fiasco, promising Andy Dalton the starting job, and then they just went ahead and started Justin Fields. I think it was even week 2 that they just went ahead and started him, which if they were going to do that, why didn't they just start Justin Fields immediately? Because they waited a couple games or so and then they played Justin Fields. So I don't know why they didn't do that. They should have just played Justin Fields right out of the gate, if you ask me, to help his development, because I think they set his development back last year. It wasn't good with the Bears last year. Matt Nagy didn't really put him in a good spot. I mean, now Justin Fields is in he's in a new system right now, so that's going to hinder him in his progress that he's going to make. And I think this is more of a development year again for Justin Fields, because with Matt Eberflus as now their head coach, I think Justin Fields, he's kind of set backwards just a tad. I think he has the talent. I think it's there. But the Bears, they're basically in a rebuild right now. And I just don't see Justin Fields making a massive leap. I do see him making improvements, but I just don't see him making a massive leap and becoming the best second-year quarterback in the NFL. And then we have the other guy with question marks. We have Trey Lance. And the only reason why he has question marks is because we don't even know if this guy's playing. And when he did play last year, he wasn't necessarily the best. But we know he has talent, and obviously the 49ers like him. They gave up a lot for him. They traded away a whole bunch of draft picks to move up for him just a year ago to take him in the draft. So obviously the 49ers are very high on him. but we don't even know if he's going to be playing next year. Jimmy Garoppolo is still there, and there's a chance that he could be starting next year, which in my opinion, my personal opinion, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo necessarily ruined the plans for the 49ers this past year by playing well enough to get them into the NFC Championship game. But at the same time, I just never really understood why they would want to move off of Jimmy Garoppolo. I thought he was a really good quarterback. He was a winning quarterback. And in the Kyle Shanahan offense, the quarterback doesn't have to do much. You don't have to invest a huge amount into the quarterback, and that may be why they wanted a younger guy in Trey Lance for that exact reason, and that I get it. But I never understood the Trey Lance move to begin with, because I thought Jimmy Garoppolo was good enough. He got them to a Super Bowl just a few years ago, and he just has a winning record. So I just never knew this I never understood this situation. So Trey Lance may not even be playing this year, but if he does play, I do expect him to be a fairly solid quarterback. I feel like you can plug, just like a running back, you can kind of plug in almost any quarterback into the Kyle Shanahan offense. They will do good things. They will manage the game just how you need it. Again, it's kind of like Bill Belichick, but it's a more flashy offense. It's more entertaining to watch. The quarterback doesn't have to do very much. They kind of just have to stay out of the way, make the plays, get it to the playmakers like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. The offense will run smoothly. But, there's just a whole bunch of question marks with Trey Lance. I don't know how good he's going to be heading into next season if he is eventually the starter. But again, we don't know if he's going to be playing. But if he does play, like I said, with the Kyle Shanahan offense, I do think that he will succeed if he plays a full season. And then we have the two quarterbacks that I think are the most interesting. First, we have Zach Wilson of the New York Jets. I really think that the Jets are putting Zach Wilson in a really good position to succeed next year. I really do. I like what the Jets are doing with their draft, what they did in free agency to help their team be better, and especially help Zach Wilson get better in his second year. Zach Wilson had a few flashes last year where he was okay. He played some okay football. There was definitely times where he looked like he was improving. But at the end of the day, Zach Wilson has a lot to improve on. But I think just as a whole, the Jets, they've done a good job helping Zach Wilson, Robert Saleh, make those jumps in the second year, help them become a solid football team. Now, in that division, there may not be competing because they still have to get past the Bills. They still have to get past the Patriots, add the Dolphins to the list of teams that are going to be tough to play. But if you look at what they did on the offense to at least help Zach Wilson, they added Laken Tomlinson to the offensive line. They drafted Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall to go along with Michael Carter. So they're going to be, the young studs on that team are going to be pretty good right out of the gate. Like Breece Hall is going to be a really good running back. You have Garrett Wilson, who I think is going to make plays for the Jets. They added CJ Uzomah, a veteran tight end, so that's going to give a good presence for Zach Wilson. They still have Elijah Moore. They have Corey Davis. And they're just setting up, I think, Zach Wilson to make some leaps in his second year. And now I think he's an interesting quarterback going into his second year just because of how much the Jets have done to improve things around Zach Wilson to help him become better. It's kind of one of those things where they still have probably a little bit more to go to become a better team. But all in all, they're kind of being like, here, Zach Wilson, we're getting you help. Come on, let's go win some games. And I think Zach Wilson, he's going to make a leap in his second year, but I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback going into year two. Because the quarterback I think that's going to make the biggest leap into year two and be the best second-year quarterback, I think is Trevor Lawrence. I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. He had talent coming out of college that was hyped up like crazy, and rightfully so. He was really good at Clemson. I saw him play a few times in Clemson. He was fantastic. He was a great quarterback. And you would think a guy like that would translate to the NFL, but when you give him Urban Meyer and that disaster that was last year, that was not fun. That wasn't pretty for Trevor Lawrence. I feel bad for him, like I said. But I really think this is the year for Trevor Lawrence to not only be the best second-year quarterback, I think he's going to be a guy that can make a jump and become a really good quarterback in the NFL next season because we know the talent's there. Now, obviously, he's in a different situation because they had to bring in Doug Peterson after firing Urban Meyer. So he's kind of in the same boat as guys like Davis Mills, who has a new head coach, guys like Justin Fields, who has a new coach. But I think the situation is just different because of the head coach that they brought in. Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl winning head coach, and he did it with a backup quarterback, Nick Foles, after his probably MVP quarterback went down. And they really didn't miss a beat heading into the playoffs, heading into the Super Bowl, and beating the Patriots. So Doug Peterson, we know that he can get the most out of guys. We didn't really see that late in his time in Philadelphia, but I think this is the best possible move for Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to be the best second-year quarterback in the NFL based off the situation that he's gotten. The Jaguars, they may have overpaid for some guys, but they got some solid receivers around him. Zay Jones, they got Christian Kirk, who is the guy they probably overpaid for. Nothing on Christian Kirk, by the way. But with Trevor Lawrence, I think he should forget everything that he kind of got last year, the development that he got, except for what he did in week 18 against the Colts, where he played his best game of the season. And I loved the way he played against the Colts last year, because the Jaguars were so bad, because we didn't see the development of Trevor Lawrence, because Urban Meyer held him back. It was just a mess. What he did in week 18, playing loose, playing free, playing his best football this season, just seeing that shows me Trevor Lawrence does have the potential to be a great quarterback in the NFL. And you're bringing in a guy like Doug Peterson after Trevor Lawrence is coming off of a great performance to end the year. I know we don't have a full year of good football to judge Trevor Lawrence, but we know what he can do. And he's getting a better situation. And he's given a team around him that, while I think the Jaguars still have moves that they have to make, the moves that they have made, especially bringing in Doug Peterson, I think is setting up Trevor Lawrence to succeed. And I really do think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the best second-year quarterback this year. Now, is he going to make the playoffs? I don't know. That's a tall task for anybody, because Trevor Lawrence obviously still has some development to do just because of how disastrous it was last season. But they're setting up Trevor Lawrence for success, which is really all that you can ask a team to do for a second-year quarterback coming off a disastrous first year. But that is who I think is going to be the best second-year quarterback heading into next season. Give me your thoughts down below. Who do you think is going to be the best second-year quarterback, and why? That'd be really interesting to learn why you think a player is going to be the best second-year quarterback. Give me your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next one.